Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lacson, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcoleta, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Soto, Senator Tulfo Erwin, Senator Tulfo Rafi, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Camille, Senator Villar Mark, Senator Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 21 senators present, Chair declares the presence of a quorum. Majority Floor Leader.
Yes, Mr. President. Mr. President, before we proceed, may I just be allowed to recognize some guests from the gallery, guests of Senators Villar and Aquino, Mark Villar and Bam Aquino, LGU officials of Luisiana, Laguna, led by Mayor Jomaver Alvarez and Mayor Venus Ordan of La Paz, Tarlac, guests of Senator Ejercito and Bato de la Rosa, Mayor Ramil Publico with LGU officials of San Vicente, Palawan, Mayor Lito Tito with LGU officials of Aborlan, Palawan, guests of Senators Legarda and Lapid, Mayor Donald Morgolnon from Banawe, Ifugao, Vice Mayor Ernest Oliver Uy of Iligan City, Mayor Alvi Musa from Alicia, Zamboanga, Sibugay, Mayor Rico Puno from Calatagan, Batangas, guests of Senators Pangilinan and Bongo, Mayor Milagros Faderanga and local officials from Banton, Romblon, Mayor Tessie Jean Nacao of Bacuag, Surigao del Norte, guests of Senator Gatchalian, Police Brigadier General Dindo Reyes, Regional Director PNP, Ilocos Region, Police Colonel Claire Balesteros of Ilocos Region. We welcome all of them in this August chamber.
To the aforementioned guests, welcome to your Senate Majority Leader.
Mr. President, at this juncture, I move that we dispense with the reading of the Journal of the 6th Session, Wednesday, August 6, 2025, and consider the same as approved.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Mr. President, at this juncture, I move that we defer the approval of the Journal of the 7th Session, Monday, August 11, 2025. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Mr. President, I move that we proceed with the reference of business.
Any objection? Hearing none, Secretary is directed to comply.
Bills on first reading, Senate number 351, an act repealing RA 10912, the Continuing Professional Development Act of 2016, Senator De La Rosa.
To the Committee on Civil Service, Government Reorganization, and Professional Regulation.
352, providing for security of tenure for all casual and contractual employees of the government who have rendered the prescribed use of service to the national government and the local government units and for other purposes, Senator De La Rosa.
To the Committee on Civil Service, Government Reorganization, and Professional Regulation.
353, an act providing for Magna Carta of tricycle drivers and operators, institutionalizing mechanisms for its implementation and for other purposes, Senator De La Rosa.
To the Committee on Public Services and Local Government.
354, establishing the Disability Support Fund for the empowerment, full participation, and inclusion of persons with disabilities in society and appropriating funds therefore, Senator De La Rosa.
To the Committees on Social Justice, Welfare and Rural Development, and Finance.
355, an act providing for the Magna Carta of Barangay Health Workers, Senator De La Rosa.
To the Committees on Health and Demography, Local Government, Ways and Means, and Finance.
356, an act recognizing motorcycles as public utility vehicles, amending RA 4136, the Land Transportation and Traffic Code, and RA 7160, the Local Government Code, as amended for other purposes, Senator De La Rosa.
To the Committees on Public Services and Local Government.
357, an act establishing the Philippine National Police Forensic DNA Database, appropriating funds therefore, Senator De La Rosa.
To the Committees on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, Justice and Human Rights, and Finance.
358, an act mandating law enforcement officers to use a body-worn camera during law enforcement operations, providing penalties for violations and appropriating funds therefore, Senator De La Rosa.
To the Committees on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, and Finance.
359, an act providing for the administrative reform and reorganization of the Philippine Coast Guard, repealing RA 9993, the Philippine Coast Guard Law of 2009, Senator De La Rosa.
To the Committees on Public Services, Civil Service, Government Reorganization, and Professional Regulation, and Finance.
360, an act requiring all graduate senior high school and college level students to plant at least 2 trees each as a civic duty for environment protection and climate change mitigation and appropriating funds therefore, Senator De La Rosa.
To the Committees on Basic Education, Higher Technical Vocational Education, and Finance.
361, an act ensuring the senior high school graduates under the K-12 program are equipped with the knowledge, training, and skills demanded in the labor market, enhancing their employability and competitiveness, creating the Batang Magaling Councils to strengthen multi-stakeholder collaboration and support for their employment, allowing deduction of training expenses incurred for the skills development, appropriating funds therefore. Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Basic Education, Higher Technical Vocational Education, Ways and Means, and Finance.
362, providing for a 20,000 peso across-the-board increase in the basic monthly salary of all public elementary and secondary school teachers and appropriating funds therefore. Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committees on Civil Service, Government Reorganization, and Professional Regulation, Basic Education, and Finance.
360, an act fulfilling the rights and strengthening the privileges of public school teachers under RA 4670, the Magna Carta for Public School Teachers and appropriating funds therefore. Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committees on Basic Education, Civil Service, Government Reorganization, and Professional Regulation, and Finance.
364, an act providing for government assistance to private basic education, further amending RA 6728, the Government Assistance to Students and Teachers in Private Education Act, as amended and appropriating funds therefore. Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committees on Basic Education and Finance.
Senate number 365, an act establishing a national energy policy and regulatory framework for facilities utilizing waste-to-energy technologies. Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committees on Energy, Environment, Natural Resources, and Climate Change, Ways and Means, and Finance.
366, an act providing for a national energy policy and framework for a clean and just energy transition in the country and appropriating funds therefore. Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committees on Energy, Ways and Means, and Finance.
367, an act enhancing the governance structure of the Energy Regulatory Commission. Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committees on Energy, Civil Service, Government Organization, and Professional Regulation.
368, an act amending RA 9511, granting the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines a franchise to engage in the business of conveying or transmitting electricity through high-voltage backbone, system of interconnected transmission lines, substation, and related facilities, and for other purposes. Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committees on Public Services and Ways and Means.
369, an act providing for a comprehensive and responsive civil registration and vital statistics system, repealing Act number 3753 or the Philippine Law on Registry of Civil Status, providing funds therefore and for other purposes. Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committees on Justice and Human Rights and Finance.
370, an act regulating debt collection practices to protect debtors from abuses, harassment, unfair treatment, and misrepresentation. Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Banks, Financial Institutions, and Currencies.
371, an act legalizing the cultivation of hemp and formulating a comprehensive development plan for the hemp industry, including research and development and capacity building to strengthen its competence and efficiency, providing funds therefore. Senator Padilla.
To the Committees on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, Health and Demography, and Finance.
372, an act lowering the minimum age of criminal responsibility, amending RA 9344, the Juvenile Justice and Welfare Act of 2006 as amended and for other purposes. Senator Padilla.
To the Committees on Justice and Human Rights and Women and Children, Family Relations, and Gender Equality.
373, strengthening the protection of private sector workers by establishing a national minimum wage and enhancing penalties for non-compliance, amending PD 442, the Labor Code of the Philippines. Senator Padilla.
To the Committee on Labor, Employment, and Human Resources Development.
374, an act prohibiting online publication and promotion of gambling-related content, providing penalties therefore and for other purposes. Senator Padilla.
To the Committees on Public Information and Mass Media and Games and Amusements.
375, an act providing for the Magna Carta of Minors. Senator Padilla.
To the Committees on Labor, Employment, and Human Resources Development and Finance.
376, an act prohibiting the advertising and sale of sugar, sweetened beverages, junk food, and other unhealthy food products in elementary and secondary schools, providing funds therefore and for other purposes. Senator Padilla.
To the Committees on Health and Demography, Basic Education, and Finance.
377, an act providing indigent job seekers discounted or waived fees and charges in the issuance of certain pre-employment documents issued by the government agencies. Senator Estrada.
To the Committees on Labor, Employment, and Human Resource Development and Social Justice, Welfare, and Rural Development.
378, an act providing for a 5-year validity period of the professional identification cards of all professionals under the Professional Regulation Commission. Senator Estrada.
To the Committees on Civil Service, Government Organization, and Professional Regulation.
379, an act prohibiting game fixing and providing penalties for violations thereof. Senator Estrada.
To the Committees on Sports and Games and Amusements.
380, an act creating the Department of Disaster Resilience, defining its mandate, powers, and functions, and appropriating funds therefore. Senator Estrada.
To the Committees on National Defense and Security, Peace, Unification, and Reconciliation, Civil Service, Government Organization, and Professional Regulation, Ways and Means, and Finance.
381, an act amending RA 7925, the Public Telecommunications Policy Act of the Philippines, by requiring public telecommunication entities and internet service providers to institute a refund mechanism for service outages and disruptions. Senator Estrada.
To the Committee on Public Services.
382, an act prohibiting all public telecommunication entities and information and communications technology providers from imposing an expiration period on the validity of prepaid load credits and therefore features, Senator Estrada.
To the Committee on Public Services.
383, an act establishing the Philippine Geriatric Medical Center, otherwise known as the Senior Citizens Hospital, and appropriating funds therefore, Senator Estrada.
To the Committees on Health and Demography, Ways and Means, and Finance.
384, an act strengthening the Department of National Defense proper and appropriating funds therefore, Senator Estrada.
To the Committees on National Defense and Security, Peace, Unification, and Reconciliation, and Finance.
385, an act mandating the establishment, management, maintenance, and regulation of rainwater harvesting facility in all institutional, commercial, industrial, and residential development projects in Metro Manila, Senator Estrada.
To the Committees on Public Works, Sustainable Development Goals, Innovation, and Futures Thinking, and Ways and Means.
386, an act promoting the production of outstanding and world-class Filipino motion pictures, providing incentives to filmmakers and actors claiming honors in the international film competitions and for other purposes, Senator Estrada.
To the Committees on Public Information and Mass Media, Ways and Means, and Finance.
387, an act regulating the accessibility and marketing of online gambling in the Philippines, reducing gambling-related addiction and harm, establishing a harm mitigation levy, and for other purpose, Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committee on Games and Amusements, and Ways and Means.
388, an act providing for a national policy in preventing adolescent pregnancies, institutionalizing social protection for adolescent parents, and providing funds therefore, Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Women, Children, Family Relations, and Gender Equality, Social Justice, Welfare, and Rural Development, and Finance.
389, an act ensuring the development, promotion, and protection of agricultural cooperatives, Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Agriculture, Food and Agrarian Reform, Cooperatives, Ways and Means, and Finance.
390, an act providing for the Magna Carta of Barangay Health Workers, Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Health and Demography, Local Government, Ways and Means, and Finance.
391, providing for the Magna Carta of the Out-of-School Youth, Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Youth and Finance.
392, an act strengthening the constitutional rights of government employees to self-organization, collective negotiation, peaceful concerted activities, and the use of voluntary modes of dispute resolution, Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committee on Civil Service, Government Organization, and Professional Regulation.
393, an act providing for the Universal Disability Support Allowance for persons with disabilities, appropriating funds therefore, and for other purposes, Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Social Justice, Welfare, and Rural Development, and Finance.
394, an act expanding the grounds for dissolution of marriage, instituting divorce, and setting the procedures thereof, providing protections to the parties to the marriage and its common children, amending for this purpose EO 209 or the Family Code of the Philippines, Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committee on Women, Children, Family Relations, and Gender Equality.
395, an act regulating the rational exploration, development, and utilization of mineral resources, repealing RA 7942, the Philippine Mining Act of 1995, and appropriating funds therefore, Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Environment, Natural Resources, and Climate Change, Ways and Means, and Finance.
396, an act providing for parent support and for other purposes, Senator Lacson.
To the Committee on Women, Children, Family Relations, and Gender Equality.
397, an act further strengthening the foreign currency deposit law, amending RA 6426, the Foreign Currency Deposit Act of the Philippines, as amended, Senator Lacson.
To the Committee on Banks, Financial Institutions, and Currencies.
398, an act expanding the scope and coverage of RA 4200, otherwise known as an act to prohibit and penalize wiretapping and other related violations of the privacy of communication and for other purposes, Senator Lacson.
To the Committees on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, the National Defense and Security, Peace, Unification, and Reconciliation.
399, an act providing for a comprehensive nursing law towards a quality healthcare system and appropriating funds therefore, repealing RA 9173, the Philippine Nursing Act of 2002, Senator Lacson.
To the Committees on Civil Service, Government Organization, and Professional Regulation, Health and Demography, and Finance.
Senate number 400, an act instituting a national land use policy, providing the implementing mechanisms therefore and for other purposes, Senator Lacson.
To the Committees on Sustainable Development Goals, Innovation, Futures Thinking, and Finance. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, with the permission of the body, I move that we consider Senate Concurrent Resolution number 5. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. Motion is approved. Secretary is directed to read the title. 5.
Yes.
Concurrent resolution amending the legislative calendar, the first regular session of the 20th Congress of the Philippines.
Majority Leader.
Yes, Mr. President, just for the record, this is in relation to the request of the House of Representatives for additional 3 days of work. The proposed adjustment, Mr. President, in the calendar is deemed necessary to accommodate the timely transmittal, deliberation, and approval of the General Appropriations Bill. Mr. President, this is nothing new. We have been we have done this before, and the changes in the legislative calendar aim to ensure that we will have sufficient time for thorough examination and deliberation on the proposed national budget in accordance with our constitutional duty to enact the annual appropriations law before the start of the next fiscal year. And so with that, Mr. President, I move that we adopt Senate Concurrent Resolution number 5.
Before acting on the motion of the majority floor leader, just for the record, our House counterparts got in touch with with Senator Win Gatchalian and this representation, as well as Senator Joel Villanueva, requesting for this change, because if we do not change it according to them, they will be giving us the